Okay, some of you are probably wondering what makes Vertical Mastery any different to any of the other programs out there, and how does it work? Well, I'll take you through a few examples of different types of athletes, and I'll show you how the software creates different programs for different athletes depending on their needs. And I'll also show you a couple of other examples of ways in which the software application can customize your training for your needs and your circumstances. So the first athlete I've got here is an athlete who weighs 160 pounds, and I've put in some data so that his maximum squat and relative maximum deadlift test show his estimated 1 rep max is also 160 pounds. So essentially he can only squat and deadlift 1 times his body weight. Now this suggests that this athlete is actually pretty weak, and in all likelihood the best way for him to improve his vertical jump is to increase his ability to generate more force, i.e. is to get stronger hitting the weights. So if we click build program, it takes us in and it shows us the analysis. If we go to maximum and squat and deadlift, it says his relative strength is an area that needs to be improved. And I've put some of his other areas for the testing up quite high, so that essentially his one glaring weakness in our sample data was that he was pretty weak. So if we go to the workouts, as you can see, he's doing a lot of deadlifting, he's doing some lunges, he's doing some deadlifting here. So 2 days a week he's doing strength training, and that's because, as I said, his weakness is he's not very strong, so the quickest way for him to improve his vertical jump is by getting stronger. He's also doing another day of sport-specific training, and that's just basically practicing jumping in the technique that he's using for his sport, and that'll help him improve his movement efficiency. So that's a very, very weak athlete. Now, if we go to the other end of the spectrum, and if we pumped up his strength so that he was much, much stronger, the software would change. Now, in doing so, we might put his jumping ability down a bit too. So now this athlete, he still weighs 160 pounds, but as you can see, I've put his strength, his squat test and his deadlift test up very high. So now his strength levels are more than twice his body weight, which is very strong. And for some of his other tests, his depth jump and his pause jump, I've dropped them right down. So essentially, his weaknesses are that he's not very reactive. As you can see, he's reactive. His depth jump test is lower than his standing vertical jump, so he's not very reactive, and his pause jump is 20 centimeters lower than his standing vertical jump, which shows that he's also not very explosive. So even though his standing vertical jump is the same height, he's only achieving that because he can generate so much force. So for this athlete, the quickest way for them to improve their vertical jump, or for him to improve his vertical jump, is not through any strength training, but to do some plyometric type work and do some accelerative type training. So if we click build program for this type of athlete, now the analysis is saying his strength is excellent, but some of these other areas need some work. So if we flick into the workouts, you can see that now, look, he's doing some more jumping, he's doing some bounding, he's doing some depth jumps. On his other workout, he's doing some acceleration work like hang cleans and pause jump squats, and he's also still doing that sport-specific day. So you can see that as the athlete has gotten much stronger and his reactive and explosive strengths aren't as strong, then the software has changed the workouts to suit the different type of athlete. And again, that is the quickest way for anybody to increase their vertical jump. There's no secrets about what that is. The quickest way is to work on your weaknesses. So that's just a couple of extreme examples. Now, obviously, not everyone is going to be at such extreme ends of the spectrum of it being very, very strong and not particularly quick, or being quite weak but very quick. Usually most athletes will be somewhere in between, and the program will create their workouts more based on your needs and probably a more balanced type of workout, depending what they are. But you never know, you might be one of those athletes that needs to do a lot of strength work, or you might be very strong. Whatever your situation, the software will adapt your workouts to suit what you need to work on the most. Now, if we have a quick look at some of the other options, they're just a couple of the tests. There are some more tests down the page that do a few other things, but they're just a couple of the examples of how it customizes your workouts. Some of the other options here for athletes competing in season. By competing in season, those are the athletes that have several practices a week and are also playing one, maybe 2 or 3 games per week. So for those type of athletes, we'll put, if you're competing in, we'll click yes, they are competing in season. We'll see how the software changes their workouts. For this kind of athlete who is competing in season, they don't actually need to do a whole lot of jumping themselves because they're doing so much at their practices and the games. Their work should be more focused on maintaining strength, building explosive strength in the weight room, but again, not too taxing. It's just about maintenance during the season. So if we click build program for an athlete who's competing in the season, and all the analysis is the same, but the workouts are slightly different. First thing you'll notice is that there is no sport-specific jump training day. Again, if they're competing in season, they're doing plenty of jumping. They don't need to spend any more time practicing it. Now the thing you'll notice is that there's only a small amount of jumping, and it's low impact jumping. So these seated box jumps is a very low impact type of jumping, and the weights are a little bit lighter, as well as the types of exercises they're doing are not as taxing on the body. And again, that is because they are competing in season, and you're already competing with all the training and the games for recovery time. So if we go back to the personal data, and another option, this will suit people who don't have access to weight training equipment. So we can click no. On this question, this is, do you have access to free weights, barbell, squat rack, etc. If you don't have access to weight training equipment, the software can create programs based purely on body weight exercises. So if we click no there, the first thing it does is it clears out these cells for the squat and deadlift test, which makes sense. I mean, there's no point testing for a squat and a deadlift if you don't have access to weights. So we click build program there, and again the analysis here is max squat and deadlift says not applicable because you can't use the weights, but all the rest of the analysis will be the same. And then if we go to the workouts, you can see that all the exercises here are body weight only, and that just means if you're just using your body weight, so there's no need for weights, and that's the point of having a no weight training program. So they're just a couple of examples of how the Vertical Mastery software application works. Once again, the software is very easy to use. No matter what your circumstances, it will create a program designed to strengthen your weaknesses and provide you the quickest results that you can. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. I'll talk to you soon.